Chapter 301. Qi Xiaoyuan snatched his phone away. You're the one who's crazy. Give me back my phone. He clicked the enter button and sent the comment over. Then, he continued to comment and like Lin Yan's Weibo posts. Qi Xiaoyuan's incongruous praise was mixed in with the scolding. He stood out like a crane among a flock of chickens and was extremely eye-catching. How dare you chase after a celebrity? Of all the celebrities you could chase, why would you chase such a woman? Are you out of your mind? Wei Shufeng looked incredulous. Qi Xiaoyuan glanced at Wei Shufeng as though he had seen through everything. What do you know? Qi Xiaoyuan glanced at Wei Shufeng as though he could see through everything. What do you know? From today onward, I'll be Sister Yan's loyal fan. I won't allow you to insult my fairy sister. I won't allow you to insult my fairy sister. She was just imitating others and making a fool of herself. Are you blind? How dare you say that you're boss's fan? I think you're a fake fan. Wei Shufeng retorted. Qi Xiaoyuan was exasperated. The corners of his mouth twitched as he bellowed, You're the one who's blind. You're the fake fan. He was the blind one, yet he had the audacity to call him a blind man? Wei Shufeng looked at him in disdain. A fake is a fake. No matter how much we resemble each other, would never betray boss. That woman made such a ridiculous claim. I want to see if she would have the guts to fight. Qi Xiaoyuan chuckled. That night, Lin Yan was browsing Weibo on her computer when she received a series of calls from Duo. Sister Yan. What did you do this time? Duoduo's agitated voice rang through the phone. Lin Yan blinked innocently. What did I do? Check Wei Shufeng's Weibo yourself. Huh? Wei Shufeng? Lin Yan clicked on Wei Shufeng's Weibo suspiciously. Wei Shufeng's Weibo page had been pinned to the top of the page. It was the post that he had said that he would only fall for her if he was blind. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched as she recalled what Wei Shufeng had said to her earlier. Was this fellow a primary school student? He actually pinned that Weibo post at the top. He would post something on Weibo after a little provocation. Forget it. Since he's my fan, I won't argue with this guy anymore. Sigh, she really spoiled her fans too much. On the other end of the line, Duo was on the verge of tears. The photo of you talking to Han Yishuan has already attracted a lot of criticism. At this critical juncture, Wei Shufeng suddenly did something like this. It's like adding fuel to the fire. That photo was obviously twisted to defame you. Wei Shufeng is even more unreasonable. He was the one who took the initiative to stick to you. Others might not know this, but he knows it very well. What's the meaning of his actions? The corners of Lin Yan's mouth curled up when she heard Duo. This girl probably didn't even realize that her attitude had begun to favor him. Calm down, calm down. Just hang in there for a few days. Anyway, I don't have many scenes, and I'll be done soon. In the future, I will never join such a deadly production. Lin Yan consoled him. Duo, don't lie to me. If I give you more money, what kind of production would you not dare to join? Lin Yan muttered, she hadn't expected that Duo would understand her so well even though they had only known each other for a short period of time. Actually, she was speaking from the bottom of her heart. It wasn't because she was afraid of being attacked by her haters. She wasn't afraid of millions of them. Chapter 302. In the next few days, Lin Yan's schedule was packed to the brim. She had no time to rest. Her grandfather had called her once to discuss the competition with WW next month. Lin Yan planned to finish her work before heading to her grandfather's place to discuss the competition. She had also seen the video and audio reports of the race. Although her ability as a navigator had been acknowledged, in the eyes of the public, theoretical experience did not equate to actual combat ability. A navigator and a racer were two completely different fields. If she wanted to race directly, she would have to spend some time to discuss it with her grandfather. On the other hand, the filming went smoothly. Lin Yan was very good at playing the role of an emotionless money-making machine. Although Wei Shufeng still despised her, he was still very professional. He even managed to portray his feelings of love and hate for Lin Pianruo vividly. In the blink of an eye, Lin Yan was only left with one scene. She would be filming with Pei Nanxiu. Pei Nanxiu was rehearsing with Jiang Sifei while Lin Yan, who was done with her makeup, waited in the waiting area. The filming location for today's scene was in a scenic area in the suburbs. The environment was quiet and the scenery was pleasant. Lin Yan lay on a chair as she watched Pei Nanxiu. She couldn't help but feel nervous. After all, this was the first time she would be acting with her idol. Duo glanced at Lin Yan in surprise, thinking that it was rare for Lin Yan to feel nervous. After filming for so many days, she had been nonchalant about it, no matter who she had to work with. Her scenes with Wei Shufeng had been completed smoothly. However, it wasn't strange. Lin Yan was Pei Nanxiu's fan after all, so she was probably excited. Sister Yan, you might be excited later, but you have to control yourself. Don't do anything that you shouldn't. Duo couldn't help but remind her. In order to get into character and act like a domineering president, Lin Yan replayed Pei Yucheng's video on her phone. Don't worry, I cherish my life. Besides, she wouldn't dare to do that. Duo caught a glimpse of Lin Yan's phone and realized that she had been watching the same video. It seemed to be the same man. Although it was just a hasty glance, she could tell from his side profile that he was a very handsome man. Duo's expression turned wary as she probed, Sister Yan, what are you looking at so secretively? I've been looking at it for half a day. Lin Yan raised an eyebrow when she heard him. She stroked her chin and chuckled softly. I'm watching your video. Why? It's fine if I can't flirt with you, but can't I look at you? The corners of Duo's mouth twitched. Suddenly, she saw the back view of a naked man standing by the pool. Her face darkened. You. Why are you watching such a restricted video in broad daylight? Can't you restrain yourself a little? Lin Yan quipped, why should I restrain myself? I'm looking at my boyfriend. So what if he's a little restrictive? Speaking of which, Pei Yucheng had been abroad for a week. She hadn't contacted him at all. Pei Yucheng hadn't taken the initiative to call her. He hadn't even sent her a text. Lin Yan, who was an idiot when it came to relationships, didn't know what to say. Both of them had been communicating through Pei Yutong or Pei Nanxiu. Chapter 303. Hence, the two of them continued to interact in a strange manner. It was as though Pei Yucheng, who had lost control of himself, had been a dream. She had been worried that Pei Yucheng would control her too much now that they had fallen out. However, it seemed like her worries had been in vain. Lin Yan was talking to Duo when she heard the sound of a cut. Pei Nanxiu and Jiang Sifei had finished filming. Director Jiang Yiming chatted with Pei Nanxiu and Jiang Sifei for a while before he walked over to Lin Yan. Lin Yan, how are your preparations? Jiang Yiming asked with concern. Lin Yan scrambled to her feet and replied, ahem. I'm fine, actually, she wasn't very confident. After all, it was hard to paint a tiger's bones. She had been able to rely on her brain for the previous scenes, but today, she had to compete with Pei Nanxiu. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to handle it. However, Jiang Yiming seemed to be very confident in her. He grinned and said, Lin Yan, don't be nervous. Just perform as you normally would. Your audition was perfect. Trust me, you're the most suitable candidate to play Lin Pianruo. Just based on your performance that day, it will be enough. I'm afraid that even Nanxiu won't be able to suppress your aura. Lin Yan felt even more guilty when she heard director Jiang mention the audition. She hadn't been sober during the audition that day. Pei Nanxiu walked over with a smile. Miss Lin, I watched the audition that day. You did a great job. I'm looking forward to your scenes with me. Lin Yan was overwhelmed by Pei Nanxiu's compliment. Ahem. Mr. Pei, you flatter me. I did perform exceptionally well, haha. Lin Yan, don't be so humble. Your performance wasn't something that could have been achieved simply by outperforming yourself. You had to be really good at acting to pull it off. Alright. If there are no more questions, shall we start now? Jiang Yiming said eagerly. Lin Yan was speechless. She had no choice but to give it a try. She had been cramming for a long time. Perhaps she could really unleash her potential? Jiang Yiming informed all the crew to get ready and filming officially began. Today's scene was the one during Lin Yan's audition. The male lead, Chen Jing, had suffered a setback and was unable to recover. Lin Pianruo, who was Chen Jing's nemesis, had gone to the hospital to negotiate with him. The only difference was that Pei Nanxiu was the real person. The scene was set in a ward in a sanatorium, and the male lead was lying on a bed. 3, 2, 1. Action. Start. Jiang Yiming shouted. The lights and cameras were in place. Pei Nanxiu, who was playing the role of the male lead, was lying on the hospital bed. The makeup artist had made Pei Nanxiu look pale and weak. There was a faint stubble on his chin, which made him look completely different from his usual strict and slovenly appearance. Even so, Pei Nanxiu was still very charming in the camera. He even had a decadent sense of beauty. Chen Jing had never been defeated in his life. This was the first time in his life that he had failed. He stayed in the sanatorium and cut off all contact with the outside world. For half a month, he refused to see anyone except his girlfriend. On this day, an uninvited guest came to the sanatorium. It was Lin Pianruo. Lin Yan, who was wearing a black suit and a pair of large sunglasses, pushed the door open. Chapter 304. When he saw Lin Pianruo, Chen Jing, who was staring out the window in a daze, changed his aura instantly. A moment ago, Pei Nanxiu had been completely harmless and non-threatening. However, the moment Lin Pianruo appeared, his aura exploded. The business tycoon, the ruthless man, was back. Lin Yan sucked in a breath of cold air when she saw his sudden, piercing gaze. No wonder he was a national treasure, his performance was amazing. He was usually such a gentle person, yet he didn't look like himself at all. He was simply praising his idol's acting skills. Lin Yan hastily snapped out of her fandom and ignored Chen Jing's unfriendly gaze. She walked to the chair beside the bed and sat down. Chen Jing narrowed his eyes as he stared at his nemesis. President Lin, please excuse me for not welcoming you earlier. Chen Jing's expression didn't change at all, but the oppressive aura he exuded made all the staff feel pressured, let alone Lin Yan, who was sitting next to him. Lin Yan had to focus all her attention to withstand the pressure. She forced herself to say, President Chen, this is just a small setback. Are you going to collapse after this setback? Jiang Yiming, who was watching the camera intently, looked startled. Something wasn't right, although her expression and tone seemed right. Lin Yan's aura had been completely suppressed. This was completely different from what he had imagined. Although Pei Nanxiu's face was pale and he was dressed in a hospital gown, he didn't look as dignified as he used to be. However, a casual glance from him made one feel as though he was still the invincible Chen Jing. He looked at Lin Yan as though she was a clown who was adding insult to injury. Even though a dragon had fallen into the shallows, it was still a dragon. Lin Yan was deeply shocked by Pei Nanxiu's portrayal of Chen Jing. Lin Yan replied, working with me is your only choice. Jiang Yiming shook his head. Cut. Stop. You can't do it this time. Let's do it again. Lin Yan heaved a sigh of relief. She knew that her acting wasn't up to par. Jiang Yiming strode over to Lin Yan with a complicated expression on his face. Lin Yan, what's wrong? Are you in a bad mood today? Pei Nanxiu replied, actually, Miss Lin's acting wasn't bad. Jiang Yiming nodded and quipped, I'm not saying that Lin Yan didn't act well. On the contrary. Lin Yan, for a non-professional actress like you, you did very well. However, that's not all. You can do better. Do you understand? Lin Yan didn't know how to reply. How did she act when she lost consciousness? Is he really that good at acting? Pei Nanxiu replied politely, "It's all right. We can try a few more times." Jiang Yiming glanced at Lin Yan and explained to her, "There aren't many lines in this scene. The focus is on you and your aura. You have to know that Lin Pianruo is Chen Jing's only rival. How could she lose to Chen Jing's aura? Although I can get Nanshu to reign in his aura and cooperate with you, if I do that, the standard of the entire scene will drop. Hence, the only way is for you to keep up with Nanshu. For example, your first line wasn't right. It seemed as though you were gloating over someone else's misfortune. During the second line, you were completely overwhelmed by Nanshu's aura. How are you going to convince the audience that you can make Chen Jing agree to work with you just because of one line and one look?" Chapter 305. Lin Yan listened attentively to Jiang Yiming. "I understand now, however, how could she achieve that in a short period of time?" Pei Nanxiu was an award-winning actor. Given his acting skills and aura, no one in the entire entertainment industry could surpass him in terms of aura. Now, it was almost impossible for a non-professional actress like her, who had just learned her acting skills, to suppress his aura. However, Jiang Yiming sounded very satisfied with her performance at the audition. If it hadn't been for the comparison, Jiang Yiming might have let her go. However, perhaps because of the comparison, Jiang Yiming had high expectations of her. "All right, it's fine. Let's do it again," Jiang Yiming comforted her. Lin Yan nodded and inhaled deeply. "Okay." This time, Lin Yan tried her best to get rid of Pei Nanxiu's interference so that she wouldn't be affected by his aura. "President Lin, thank you for coming. Sorry for not welcoming you." Pei Nanxiu didn't sound angry because Lin Pianruo had come knocking on his door. Instead, he sounded extremely calm. However, his natural arrogance made Lin Pianruo seem like an insignificant person. "President Chen, it's just a small setback. Are you going to collapse?" Lin Yan repeated herself. Jiang Yiming shouted once more. "Lin Yan. Where's your aura? It's worse than the last time. Remember, you can't be suppressed by Nanshu. Don't be suppressed by him, understand?" Lin Yan was on the verge of tears. "Director Jiang, I didn't want this to happen. But please, it's Pei Nanshu. He's the only actor in the entertainment industry who has won the Grand Slam. He's the best actor ever. Based on Mr. Pei's acting skills, not to mention the entire entertainment industry, even the big bosses in the business world wouldn't be able to surpass him." She could only blame her idol for being too impressive. No, there was someone who could definitely suppress him. Pei Yucheng. Pei Nanshu couldn't help but chuckle when he heard Lin Yan. "Miss Lin, you flatter me." Jiang Yiming agreed with Lin Yan. "Lin Yan, I know. Of course, I know. That's why I was worried when I chose the role of Lin Pianruo. Fortunately, I discovered you. As long as you perform as you did at the audition. Even if it's only half of your usual standard, it will be enough. You need to find the right state." Lin Yan was speechless. Another audition. F***CK. What the hell was the other consciousness in her? Was it really that powerful? "Lin Yan, I believe in you. You can do it. Let's do it again." Jiang Yiming was still confident in her. All right." Hence, Lin Yan had no choice but to continue. However, for the next few times, Jiang Yiming was still not satisfied. After a few takes, Lin Yan felt as though she had been drained. However, Jiang Yiming kept saying that her aura wasn't strong enough. "No, I can't. Forget it. Let's rest for a while. Lin Yan, you have to get into the right state." Jiang Yiming's expression was grim. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. In the end, Lin Yan collapsed on the chair. "I feel like my body has been emptied." Pei Nanshu sat down beside Lin Yan. "Take it slow. Don't rush. You're a newcomer, so it's good that you've done so well. However, Director Jiang has high expectations for you. Lin Yan sighed. I know, she then glanced at Pei Nanxiu. Mr. Pei, did I really act well during the audition? Chapter 306. Pei Nanxiu pondered for a moment. How should I put it? Your acting can't even be described as acting anymore. You didn't seem to be acting at all. It was as though you were the person you were portraying. Besides, Lin Yan asked, besides what? Pei Nanxiu quipped, besides, your aura was very similar to my brother's. You had such an exciting audition. No wonder Director Jiang was so strict with you. Really? Lin Yan was shocked. Although she had been using Pei Yuqing's videos as a blueprint, she had only been acting. No matter how good she had been, she couldn't have imitated Pei Yuqing's aura. Lin Yan was still in shock when her phone rang. It was a new WeChat message. Lin Yan's eyes widened when she saw who it was. Pei Yuqing. They hadn't contacted each other for a week, yet Pei Yuqing had sent her a message. Pei Yuqing asked, "What's wrong?" "Whose message?" Lin Yan coughed softly and whispered, "Your brother." Pei Nanxiu chuckled softly. "My brother actually sent you a message?" Lin Yan asked, "What's wrong? Is it strange?" As a couple, wouldn't it be strange if they hadn't sent each other a message? Nothing. Pei Nanxiu coughed softly and stopped talking. Lin Yan clicked on the WeChat message and read its contents. Pei Yuqing typed, "Tasteless and sleepless." Tasteless and sleepless? Lin Yan was speechless. Lin Yan frowned as she stared at Pei Yuqing's sudden message. What did it mean? Was Pei Yuqing's health deteriorating again? She knew it. How could he travel such a long distance in such a condition? Pei Nanxiu, who noticed Lin Yan's expression, hurriedly asked, "What's wrong? What did my brother say?" Lin Yan showed her phone to Pei Nanxiu worriedly. "Look at your brother's message. Did his condition worsen?" Pei Nanxiu's expression changed when he heard that. Then, he read the message. Tasteless and sleepless? Logically speaking, given his brother's character, he wouldn't tell Lin Yan such a thing. Lin Yan was about to send him a message when she received another message. Lin Yan scrolled through it hastily and saw that he had sent another message. "Miss Lin, I'm falling ill from missing you." Lin Yan was speechless, Nanxiu was speechless, an awkward silence filled the air. Lin Yan's cheeks heated up uncontrollably. Pei Nanxiu coughed softly and averted his eyes. Previously, when Pei Yutang had been complaining to him about how agitated he was, he hadn't felt anything. Today, however, he could feel it deeply. Was it popular to lure the dog in before killing it? This dog food was simply unexpected. Lin Yan blushed furiously. This man. She hadn't contacted him for a whole week. Now that they had, it was so exciting. Can't you consider the endurance of my heart? Pei Nanxiu didn't want Lin Yan to feel awkward, so he left and walked to the other side. Lin Yan glanced awkwardly at Pei Nanxiu and hid her phone in a corner like a thief. Her heart raced as she read Pei Yuqing's message. F***CK. Indeed, beauty was a source of trouble. How was she supposed to calm down and act later? I've been away for training these 2 days, so my update schedule isn't stable. Sorry for the wait. Upload the first 5 chapters first. I'll continue writing. Chapter 307. This man looked so gentlemanly and abstinent, but when he said words of love, it was simply killing her. A simple, "I miss you," could be said in such a seductive manner. However, Pei Yuqing's words, which could make Lin Yan drown in love with him, softened her heart and softened it. How was she going to reply? Lin Yan racked her brains, but she couldn't think of anything. She had no choice but to turn to the netizens for help. How should I reply to my boyfriend's message? How do I make my boyfriend happy? Lin Yan, get ready. The next scene is about to begin. At this moment, a staff member not far away raised his voice to remind them. All right, I'm coming. Lin Yan had no time to reply. She hastily put her phone away and tried to compose herself. However, it was obviously not very effective. Pei Nanxiu noticed that Lin Yan was in a daze. He coughed softly and asked with concern, Big sister-in-law, are you all right? Lin Yan scowled at him. Do I look fine to you? Pei Yuqing's words had completely disrupted her mood. Mr. Pei, let me ask you a question. Please answer me seriously. How many girlfriends does your brother have? Is there 100 of them? Lin Yan couldn't help but ask. She felt that without 100 girlfriends, he would never be able to master this skill. Pei Nanxiu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. How is that possible? As far as I know, you're the only one. Lin Yan was speechless. Every time he heard this answer, he felt that it was illogical. Lin Yan, how do you feel? Do you feel better after taking a break? Jiang Yiming asked eagerly. Lin Yan was speechless. Pei Nanxiu said, let me adjust myself. Let's try again. Thus, the filming continued. Pei Nanxiu replied, Chief Lin, I apologize for not coming out to welcome you. Lin Yan quipped, President Chen, it's just a small setback. Are you sure you won't be able to recover? Pei Nanxiu narrowed his eyes. Jiang Yiming, cut. Nanxiu, what did I say just now? You can't purposely weaken your aura. Remember, don't hold back. In this scene, your aura has to be at its peak. One more time. The second round continued. Pei Nanxiu replied, Chief Lin, I apologize for not coming out to welcome you. Lin Yan replied, President Chen, it's just a small matter. Jiang Yiming yelled, Lin Yan. What's wrong with you? During the audition, this was the scene. Weren't you in a good state at the time? Even producer Feng and I were shocked by your aura. Why can't you adjust today? The sky was getting darker and darker. This scene had been repeated dozens of times, and everyone was exhausted. After so many times, Jiang Yiming still couldn't get the effect he wanted. He couldn't help but feel a little anxious. In order to catch up, the production crew split into two teams, A and B. Feng Anhua and the assistant director were in Team A. After hearing about the situation in Team B, Feng Anhua also rushed over. Old Jiang. What was going on? I think Lin Yan's acting is pretty good. That's enough. We're in a rush. What if we can't finish it by the deadline and it affects the screening time? Feng Anhua advised. You know nothing. This is not bad. Did you forget what she was like at the audition? The screening time was nothing. Do you know how important this scene is? What do you mean by, that's enough? I, Jiang Yiming, only have the best. Jiang Yiming, who had tolerated Feng Anhua for a long time, exploded. Chapter 308. Feng Anhua rubbed his nose in exasperation. Director Jiang, calm down, calm down. I'm being fair here. I watched their performance just now. You know how good Nanxiu is. He's so good, yet you want him to unleash his aura. Nanxiu is the pinnacle of acting in the entertainment industry. Why are you forcing Lin Yan, a newcomer who has never learned how to act, to suppress his aura? Aren't you making things difficult for him? Jiang Yiming finally calmed down. He knew very well that Lin Yan's performance during the audition had met his expectations. Hence, he had hoped that Lin Yan would be able to perform as well. Lin Yan, how did you act that time? Why don't you try to recall it? Feng Anhua suggested. Lin Yan was having a headache. It would be great if she could remember it. The problem was that she couldn't remember anything. Sorry, it was just a coincidence. Lin Yan replied helplessly. Jiang Yiming would be lying if he said that he wasn't disappointed. However, Lin Yan's performance had been good enough. Forget it. I'm asking too much of you. Let's do it one last time. Nanxiu, you can hold back a little. Jiang Yiming finally relented. Feng Anhua heaved a sigh of relief. Everyone, get to your positions. One last time. Meanwhile, on the private plane, the man sat quietly in the luxurious cabin, his eyes glued to his phone. He had sent the message a long time ago, but Lin Yen hadn't replied. The man gazed out of the window as his thoughts drifted away. Finally, a strong sense of longing spread like a tidal wave, enveloping his soul as it traversed the distance to where the girl was, 20,000 miles in the sky. The man shut his eyes slowly as his phone fell to the ground. His consciousness faded away. Everyone, get to your positions. One last time. Lin Yen, are you ready? Jiang Yiming asked. It's fine. Relax. Pei Nanxiu comforted him. Jiang Yiming had finally relented. He could restrain himself now, which would make it easier for Lin Yen to act. Okay. Lin Yen inhaled deeply. She had failed so many times, especially when she was acting with Pei Nanxiu. She would be lying if she said that she wasn't upset. However, what else could she do? Her acting skills couldn't surpass Pei Nanxiu's. Could she really be possessed by a domineering president? I'm ready. Let's begin. Lin Yen said. The stage manager took the board and hit it. Then, the filming began. Lin Yen shut her eyes and adjusted her state of mind as she stood at the entrance of the nursing home. The next second, the girl opened her eyes and pushed open the door of the ward. The moment Lin Yen opened the door, the camera zoomed in on her. When the girl opened her eyes and pushed open the door, her originally bright and resplendent eyes instantly turned into a bottomless ocean. It looked calm and warm, but it seemed to contain a strong sense of oppression that made people not dare to look directly at it. When he had pushed the door open, he had glanced at Pei Nanxiu, who was lying on the sickbed. His domineering aura had enveloped the room like a shadow. Pei Nanxiu, who was about to retract his aura, couldn't help but feel shocked. Jiang Yiming, who had lost all hope, widened his eyes as well. He didn't even dare breathe loudly as he stared unblinkingly at Lin Yen. I've updated 7 chapters. I missed 1 chapter the day before yesterday, and I've updated 4 chapters yesterday. I'll update a few more chapters when I get back tonight. Chapter 309. When Pei Yuqing opened his eyes again, he realized that everything around him had changed. Pei Nanxiu, all sorts of lights, cameras, Jiang Yiming, Feng Anhua, this couldn't be his perspective. Once again, his consciousness entered Lin Yan's body uncontrollably. Pei Yuqing had finally confirmed the reason why he had lost control of his consciousness. It seemed that whenever his emotions were unstable or he missed Lin Yan too much, his consciousness would automatically attach itself to Lin Yan's body. Indeed, his soul was more honest than his body. Everyone watched as Lin Yan pushed the door open. The aura around her had changed completely. The girl's eyes scanned the room curiously. When her gaze landed on Pei Nanxiu, she paused for a moment before she scanned the crew. Almost everyone who was swept by that gaze couldn't help but be startled. She was still the same person, so why did she give off a completely different vibe after pushing the door open? Pei Yuqing, who seemed to have sensed something, frowned slightly. Lin Yan's left leg throbbed with a familiar pain. Then, he caught a glimpse of the production crew's blackboard. According to the information on the blackboard, there had been more than 30 NGs today. A second later, everyone watched as Lin Yan sauntered into the room. Unlike Lin Yan, who had walked in with her back straight, as though she was facing a formidable enemy, the girl was completely relaxed now. She looked as though she was taking a leisurely stroll in the park. She sat down on the couch beside Pei Nanxiu's bed as though there was no one around. However, the coldness that emanated from between her brows was so intense that no one dared to look her in the eye. He didn't do anything and didn't even say any lines, but the aura of a superior covered the entire space. After she sat down, the pain in her left leg subsided. Pei Yuqing's expression didn't look too good. He glanced at Pei Nanxiu as he rapped his knuckles rhythmically. When Pei Nanxu met Pei Yucheng's eyes, he shuddered involuntarily when he saw Lin Yan's subtle movements. When he realized his fear and panic, Pei Nanxu couldn't help but be taken aback. He could sense fear and panic in Lin Yan, which he had only felt when he was facing his own big brother. When Jiang Yiming finally regained his senses from the immense pressure, he almost burst into tears. It was time to show off. Lin Yan, this lass, was finally acting. Who was Lin Pianruo? She was a business empress whose desire to control power was no less than a man's. She only pursued her career all her life and would not let anything affect or stop her. In a sense, the male lead, Chen Jing, had a greater influence on her than her boyfriend. What she cared about the most was her opponent. Chen Jing was her only opponent. Hence, when she saw that Pei Nanxu had become so depressed after a single defeat, she looked cold and dissatisfied. She even reprimanded him. After Lin Pianruo pushed open the door and entered the ward, she first casually looked around the ward. Then, her gaze landed on Chen Jing, who was in low spirits on the hospital bed. She immediately revealed a dissatisfied and reprimanding expression. Her expression also turned cold. Lin Yan's performance, from her aura to her expression, was perfect. Chapter 310. Besides, even Chen Jing had been defeated before, but Lin Pianruo had never been defeated. This was different from other dramas that used the guise of a palace struggle or a career. In reality, the female lead was in a relationship. Lin Pianruo was the only female character who was focused on her career. She was even more focused than the male characters. That was why so many fans loved her. Hence, Jiang Yiming had requested that Lin Yan suppress Pei Nanxu's aura. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to maintain her image. Now, Lin Yan had finally mastered this character. Her aura had suppressed Pei Nanxu's. It was perfect. Besides Jiang Yiming, even Feng Anhua was amazed by Lin Yan's performance. This little girl is very powerful. Even if the big boss up there were to personally come here, he wouldn't be able to produce such an aura, right? Feng Anhua clicked his tongue. Jiang Yiming agreed with him. Every time Lin Yan acted, she gave off the vibe of a big boss. Silence. Jiang Yiming was nervous and excited as he watched the two of them. Pei Nanxu, who was lying on the bed, was shocked to realize that Lin Yan had almost suppressed his acting. He hurriedly tried to calm himself down and said the following lines: "Welcome, Boss Lin. Please excuse me for not going out to meet you." Lin Yan stopped tapping her fingers on the armrest when she heard him. However, there was still a layer of coldness between her brows, and a storm was brewing in her eyes. It was obvious that she was unhappy that Lin Yan had exhausted herself. Feng Anhua and Jiang Yiming felt a chill run down their spines. What was going on? Why did they feel a chill down their spines? Actually, Pei Nanxu, who was standing closest to Lin Yan, was under more pressure. However, he was forcing himself to endure it. Lin Yan gazed out of the window, as though she was trying to recall something. Pei Yutong was speechless. "Big sister-in-law, you're the one with the best connections in the entertainment industry. Why don't you just use my big brother?" Lin Yan replied, "Forget it then. What if they scold your big brother for being blind? At least wait until I succeed." Pei Yutong replied, "What's wrong with that? Big brother wouldn't care." Lin Yan replied, "No way. Your brother doesn't care, but I do. Your brother is the best, the most powerful, and the most perfect in every aspect, so his girlfriend must also be the best." The girl's words echoed in Pei Yucheng's mind, and his expression softened a little. The gloominess and coldness dissipated, leaving behind an expressionless face. Pei Yucheng had read the script of Meeting One's Match, so he had a photographic memory. Hence, he was very familiar with Lin Yan's scenes. Besides, this was the scene that Lin Yan had performed during her audition. Since this was her wish, he would help her fulfill it. "Mr. Chen, it's just a small setback. Are you going to collapse?" Lin Yan recited her lines slowly. Then, Lin Yan stood up and strode away. Before he left, he said, "Working with me is your only choice." Ka. Perfect. Let's go, Jiang Yiming shouted excitedly as he watched Lin Yan leave the ward. He was extremely satisfied with the scene. She had merely said these words casually and without any technique. However, every word she had said seemed to carry the weight of a mountain. The effect was better than he had imagined. During the entire scene, Pei Nanxiu had almost been overshadowed by them. He hadn't misjudged her. This lass was really talented. Chapter 311. Lin Yan. That was amazing. I knew you could do it. Jiang Yiming gazed at Lin Yan as though he was looking at a treasure. Pei Nanxiu chimed in sincerely, "You were indeed amazing. Even I almost lost to you." Pei Nanxiu's smile froze on his face. What was going on? The filming had ended, but why was that familiar, fearful, and panicky feeling still around her? For a moment, the atmosphere was a little strange. Feng Anhua coughed softly and chuckled. She was too engrossed in her character. She must have been too engrossed in her character. Jiang Yiming chimed in, "That's right. Such scenes were indeed exhausting." Lin Yan, congratulations on completing the scene. He had never imagined that Lin Yan, who had no acting experience at all, would be able to surprise him so much. Not only had her scenes with Wei Shufeng been perfect, but her scenes with Pei Nanxiu had also exceeded his expectations. The crew members clapped and applauded. Although they hadn't had a good impression of Lin Yan initially, they had realized that she wasn't as difficult to get along with as they had imagined. Instead, she was down to earth and her acting had improved tremendously. Congratulations. Lin Yan, congratulations on completing the scene. A crew member walked over with a bouquet of flowers to congratulate her. When Lin Yan woke up, she was greeted by this scene. Jiang Yiming was the first to clap as he watched her praise him. A bouquet of flowers was stuffed into his arms, while the crew members clapped and congratulated her on completing the scene. Completing the scene? She hadn't even finished filming yet. How could she have completed the scene? Lin Yan was still in a daze. Completed the scene? Yes, this was your last scene. Pei Nanxiu replied. How could this be? She hadn't been able to achieve the effect that Jiang Yiming had wanted. Lin Yan didn't say this out loud. She had a sudden realization. She was afraid that her illness was acting up again. Her memory had stopped at the moment when she had been about to start filming. She had completely lost track of the previous scenes. Damn it. She had thought that she had recovered after such a long time. Why did it suddenly start again? Lin Yan panicked, worried that she might have done something while she was unconscious. Based on her understanding of herself, when she was unconscious, the other consciousness that took over her body would almost always do something indescribable. He had done it with Pei Yuqing a few times. What if that fellow became lustful and did something to Pei Nanxiu? Ahem. Mr. Pei, did I do anything wrong earlier? Lin Yan asked cautiously. Pei Nanxiu was puzzled by her sudden question. Something wrong? Lin Yan scratched her head, unsure of how to explain herself. She glanced at Jiang Yiming and coughed softly. Director Jiang, can I rewatch the scene I just filmed? Of course. Jiang Yiming led Lin Yan to the camera. You can watch it again. Remember this feeling. When the machine was turned on, the footage of the negotiation at the sanatorium instantly appeared on the screen. Lin Yan's expression changed the moment she saw herself. F***ck me. This is her? Had Pei Yuqing possessed her? Chapter 312. She wouldn't have believed that she could act this well. No matter how good her acting skills were, there were some things that couldn't be replicated. This was the first time she had seen with her own eyes what it looked like when she lost consciousness. Lin Yen stared at herself in the camera. She had a strange feeling. It didn't feel like a temporary amnesia. On the contrary, it felt as though her body had been possessed by someone. Oh yeah. Lin Yen, there's a gathering today. Remember to come tonight. Feng Anhua's voice interrupted Lin Yan's thoughts. Ah. Okay. Okay. Lin Yen snapped out of her daze and snapped back to her senses. How are you going there? Pei Nanxiu asked. I'll take the subway, replied Lin Yen. Pei Nanxiu frowned and replied, this is a secluded area, so you won't be able to hail a cab. If you want to get to the subway station, you will have to walk for a long time. Why don't you follow me? Lin Yan's eyes lit up instantly. However, she shook her head frantically. No, it's fine. I can go there myself. What a joke. She had finally managed to get through this week peacefully. If something were to happen again, who would she be able to reason with? At this moment, Feng Anhua's expression was a little strange when he saw this. Although Pei Nanxiu had always seemed gentle and gentlemanly, he had a sense of distance and propriety. She hadn't expected that he would take the initiative to let Lin Yen follow him. Wasn't he being overly concerned? Producer Feng, does the crew have an extra car? Pei Nanxiu asked Feng Anhua as he sensed that something was amiss. Feng Anhua replied hastily, yes, we do. The crew has arranged for a van. Lin Yen, wait here for a while. I'll get someone to call the driver and get him to pick you up. Lin Yen thanked him profusely. Thank you, Producer Feng. Pei Nanxiu heaved a sigh of relief and bade Lin Yen farewell. I'll make a move first. Okay. Goodbye, Mr. Pei. Lin Yen held onto her bag and waited for about 15 minutes before a black van pulled up slowly. The driver peered out and said, Miss Lin, right? Producer Feng asked me to pick you up. Get in. Okay. Lin Yen nodded and opened the door. A second later, Lin Yan's mind went blank when she saw the four men in the back seat. Wei Shufeng was wearing a black leather jacket and ripped jeans. His red hair was messy and unruly. Shen Qiaomu, who was dressed in a flowery shirt with 3 buttons undone, had a pair of seductive peach blossom eyes and was leaning against the back of his chair in a frivolous manner. Tang Jiaya, who looked to be 17 or 18 years old, was wearing a light blue sports jacket, and had a handsome and well-behaved appearance. Han Yixuan was dressed in a luxurious retro sapphire blue suit. There must be something wrong with the way she opened the door. Lin Yen slammed the car door shut with a loud bang. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. With a swoosh, the car door was pulled open from the inside. Shen Qiaomu blinked his almond-shaped eyes and grinned at Lin Yen. Hey, rumored girlfriend. Why aren't you getting in the car? Lin Yen was speechless. Why were these 4 guys in the car? She had finally made it to the end of filming and thought that she was finally free. But now, she was actually given this? What kind of van was this? She was afraid that this was a train of death. It was heading to hell. Chapter 313. Hey, rumored girlfriend. Why aren't you getting in the car? Shen Qiaomu had said, get in the car. To Lin Yen, it sounded like he was telling her to get on the road. He wanted her to get in the car? What a joke. Initially, Lin Yen had rejoiced. Although there were many landmines in this production, she would only have scenes with Wei Shufeng and Pei Nanxiu. She wouldn't be able to meet the rest of the cast. It had been a coincidence that she had bumped into Han Yixuan. Who would have thought that the heavens would play such a big game the moment they started playing? In order to speed up the filming, the crew had split into 2 teams. Lin Yen was in Team B, while the rest of them were in Team A. She guessed that they must have been filming at the neighboring filming location. Since they were going to have a gathering, they had taken the crew's car. No. It's fine. I can go there myself. Lin Yan rejected the idea. Shen Qiaomu couldn't help but chuckle when he saw Lin Yan's expression. Are you sure? This is a secluded area, so you won't be able to hail a cab. If you want to walk, it will be dark by the time you get there. Instinctively, Lin Yan glanced at her left leg with a frown. Given her condition, she shouldn't be moving around. Besides, the production crew wouldn't arrange a car for her. Shen Qiaomu, who seemed to know what she was worried about, grinned and said, "If you continue to stand at the door, someone will take a picture of you." Lin Yan's expression tightened. She had no choice but to grit her teeth and step forward. Anyway, she wouldn't be photographed if she stayed in the car. She could save money too. The car was spacious and luxurious. There were 6 seats in the back, divided into 3 rows, and each row had an automatic massage function. A crew member sat in the front passenger seat. Wei Shufeng and Shen Qiaomu sat in the first row, while Tang Jiaye sat in the second row and Han Yishuan sat in the third. There were 2 seats left. One was next to Tang Jiaye, while the other was next to Han Yishuan. Hence, Lin Yan was faced with 2 choices. Which seat should she sit next to? Tang Jiaye or Han Yishuan? Lin Yan bent her back and tried to maintain her posture. She was in a dilemma. Wei Shufeng, who had been meditating, opened his eyes and glanced sideways at Lin Yan. Tang Jiaye, who was seated in the second row, had opened a small table. There was a stack of test papers on it, and he seemed to be busy with his homework. Han Yishuan, who was seated in the last row by the window, was staring at her with his usual gloomy eyes. There was a tinge of coldness in them that was hard to detect. Shen Qiaomu, who was sitting in the first row, was the closest to her. He rested his chin on his hand and blinked as if he was watching a good show. What? Miss Rumored Girlfriend, are you dazzled? Lin Yan's face darkened. Could this fellow stop calling her his rumored girlfriend? Lin Yan rolled her eyes at Shen Qiaomu before she got into the car. She sat behind Shen Qiaomu and beside Tang Jiaye. Shen Qiaomu raised an eyebrow in surprise. He craned his neck to look at Lin Yan. I thought you would sit in the last row. Shen Qiaomu glanced at Han Yishuan, who was seated in the last row. Lin Yan glanced at Shen Qiaomu helplessly. Is there a difference? Why do you have to pick a place? Shen Qiaomu was speechless, Tang Jiaye was speechless, Han Yishuan was speechless, Wei Shufeng was speechless. Chapter 314. It doesn't make a difference if I die in the hands of your fans. Lin Yan muttered softly. Shen Qiaomu hadn't expected Lin Yan's reply. He was startled for a moment before he burst out laughing. He studied the girl with interest. Ha ha ha, the girl didn't have any makeup on, and her hair was tied up in a simple ponytail. However, such a simple outfit couldn't conceal her beautiful features, especially her bright eyes. She was lazy and casual, but there was a hidden sharpness in her aura. She didn't look weak and pretentious at all. Instead, she was very attractive. Besides, Lin Yan's looks were different from the photos and videos online. Even her personality seemed to be very different. Shen Qiaomu stroked his chin as he studied the girl like a sly fox. He teased, "Oh, I suddenly realized that everyone is here today. All you need is Mr. Pei, and all your rumored boyfriends will be here." Lin Yan's face darkened when she heard him. Why did he sound like he was regretting it? He was simply watching the drama unfold. Shen Qiaomu grinned. But it's all right. The 4 of us can play mahjong together. Lin Yan was speechless. Shut up. Lin Yan glared at him and said coldly, "How can I compare to you, Senior Shen? You have enough rumored girlfriends to summon a dragon." Shen Qiaomu had always been considered the best lover by his fans because of his handsome appearance, sweet tongue, and flirting skills. However, his private life was a little too colorful, and he often changed girlfriends. He was a famous playboy in the entertainment industry, and he had dated many female celebrities. Shen Qiaomu seemed rather proud. "You flatter me." The new generation excels the old. Miss Lin, I will be killed by you sooner or later. Slap your grandpa. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched as she zipped up her jacket to cover half her face. She then pulled her cap down and ignored Shen Qiaomu. Shen Qiaomu said, "This car has a film, so people outside can't see inside. Don't be so nervous. Besides, I don't mind being involved in a few more scandals." Of course, he wouldn't mind, however, she wasn't the same. Lin Yan glanced at Shen Qiaomu and replied expressionlessly, "I mind." "Thank you." In order to stop Shen Qiaomu's nonsense, she added, "My boyfriend gets jealous." It was rare for Lin Yan to realize that she had a boyfriend. It was mainly because Pei Yuqing had been too frightening. She couldn't help but remember it. Han Yishuan frowned as he sat in the back row. Wei Shufeng narrowed his eyes. Shen Qiaomu raised an eyebrow. "You have a boyfriend?" Lin Yan glanced at him. "Is there a problem?" Although she couldn't let others know her boyfriend's identity, she didn't intend to hide the fact that she had a boyfriend. Shen Qiaomu was shocked to hear this. "No way. Among us, there's actually one of us who's real?" The veins on Lin Yan's forehead throbbed. What kind of comprehension ability did he have? When did she say that her boyfriend was one of them? Everyone instinctively turned to look at Lin Yan when they heard Shen Qiaomu. Even Tang Jiaya, who was doing his homework, lifted his head. Chapter 315. Lin Yan was about to explain, but Shen Qiaomu had already begun to guess. Could it be Wei Shufeng? I thought it was strange that Wei Shufeng hadn't chased you out of the production. So it's because you have a... Before Shen Qiaomu could finish, Wei Shufeng interrupted him with a dark expression. Shen Qiaomu, do you have a death wish? He despised actresses like Lin Yan, who had no talent and could only rely on hype to get ahead. She was the type of person he despised the most. In his eyes, only a girl like Boss, who was handsome and strong and had never attached herself to anyone, was the most charming and charming. He didn't want to be tainted by a woman like Lin Yan. Shen Qiaomu grinned like a fox. All right. I almost forgot about your Weibo post. Besides, I remember that you swore to remain chaste for your goddess, Yeva. Wei Shufeng snorted coldly. Shen Qiaomu's eyes trailed to Han Yishuan as he continued to guess. Is that Brother Xian? Han Yishuan's expression hardened as he glared at Lin Yan, as though he was warning her not to spout nonsense. Shen Qiaomu muttered under his breath, but it doesn't seem possible. Everyone knew that Han Yishuan was taken. Before Shen Qiaomu could finish, Lin Yan's eyes darted to Han Yishuan's face and she replied nonchalantly, "Of course it's impossible. I'm not blind." Han Yishuan's face darkened when he heard Lin Yan. Initially, he had thought that Lin Yan would continue to pester him and spread the news that he was her boyfriend. He hadn't expected that she would deny it and even say something like that. Shen Qiaomu was surprised by Lin Yan's blunt reply. He had thought that she would cozy up to Han Yishuan. Shen Qiaomu seemed to have thought of something as he turned to look at Tang Jiaya, who was busy doing his homework. He turned to Lin Yan and exclaimed, "Our little boy is still underage. Can you be a human being?" Cough, cough, cough. Tang Jiaya coughed and waved his hands with difficulty. "No. I'm not." Lin Yan clenched her fists and glared at him. "Who said it was him? You should be a human being. What was going on in that head of his? But it's not me. Who could it be?" The more Shen Qiaomu thought about it, the more curious he became. Lin Yan rolled her eyes at him. "Did I say that it was one of you? Please don't let your imagination run wild, Senior Shen." Shen Qiaomu had almost infuriated Lin Yan. When she finally reached the entrance of the hotel, she sprinted out of the car. In the private room, Feng Anhua and the others had already arrived. Lin Yan strode over to Feng Anhua. "Producer Feng, oh, Lin Yan. You're here. Feng Anhua noticed that Lin Yan looked pale. What's wrong? Lin Yan inhaled deeply. Producer Feng, did you call for the van? Yeah, you're welcome. Our production team has always taken care of our artists like this. Feng Anhua said with a smile. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched. Did you know if there was anyone else in the car? Young Master Wei seems to be here. Why? Feng Anhua was puzzled. Lin Yan replied, Hanixuan, Shen Xiaomu, and Tang Jiaye are in the car too. Feng Anhua, Chapter 316. Feng Anhua spotted Wei Shufeng, Hanixuan, Shen Xiaomu, and Tang Jiaye trailing behind Lin Yan. Feng Anhua stared at them in shock. After some time, he asked meekly, why are the three of them here? Lin Yan furrowed her brows and sighed. Producer Feng, are you going to get rid of me because I'm done with my scenes today and you don't need me anymore? Feng Anhua coughed softly. Haha. Lin Yan, what are you talking about? It's a misunderstanding. I didn't know that they were in that car. Did anything happen? Lin Yan, who had just escaped from hell, was at a loss for words. Fortunately, nothing happened. If the paparazzi had caught a photo of me, I would have been sacrificed to the heavens. Being sacrificed to the heavens was a small matter. If Pei Yuqing were to find out, she wouldn't be able to live, Feng Anhua comforted her. Actually, it doesn't matter if you were photographed. Just treat it as creating a KPI for the production team. A scandal like yours is worth a lot of attention. Furthermore, it was such an explosive incident. Lin Yan's face darkened when she heard that. She suspected that Feng Anhua was trying to stir up trouble on purpose. Today, the crew members were all present. From the director, assistant director, scriptwriter to producer, as well as all the main actors of the show, they were all gathered together. Although Han Yishuan was just a minor character, he had been invited because of his high status and powerful background. He had even been seated at the head of the table after Pei Nanshu's seat. Previously, Han Yishuan's identity as the Han family's eldest young master had not been announced to the public. It was only because of a certain paparazzi's exposure that everyone knew that Han Yishuan was the eldest young master of the prestigious Han family in the imperial capital. This caused quite a stir. Actually, Lin Yan hadn't known at first. When she had first met Han Yishuan, he had been an ordinary student. She had only found out about his family after they had dated for a long time. But at the time, she didn't think much of it. After all, there were too many rich people in the racing circle. Her circle was full of them, and any random family could be worth hundreds of millions. That was because, apart from some truly talented racers, those who didn't have money couldn't afford to race. Those who could afford to race were more or less not simple. Later on, Lin Yan had unintentionally revealed Han Yishuan's background to Lin Shih. Perhaps Lin Shih had been interested in Han Yishuan ever since then. Lin Shih had known about Han Yishuan's background a long time ago. However, Han Yishuan had claimed that only Lin Shih truly loved him and not because of his money. Lin Shih claimed that she had only found out about Han Yishuan's true identity after reading the news. Lin Yan chuckled. Feng Anhua comforted Lin Yan with a few perfunctory words before he hurried off to greet her like a butterfly. Pei Nanshu heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Lin Yan had arrived safely. He was about to speak when his phone rang. The caller ID was Big Brother. He hurried out of the room to answer the call. Lin Yan scanned the round table and found an inconspicuous spot to sit down. When she finally sat down, she was struck by a sudden thought. Oh no! She had forgotten to reply to Pei Yuqing's message. Lin Yan whipped out her phone hastily and clicked on WeChat. She stared at his last message. Miss Lin, I miss you so much that I've fallen ill. Her cheeks flushed. Chapter 317. Outside the private room, Pei Nanshu didn't know what the person on the other end of the line was saying, but he looked surprised. What? You want to see him now? Air. I'm afraid it's not convenient. But it's fine. I'll think of something. I'll make the arrangements. After hanging up, Pei Nanshu made another call and called his assistant over. Brother Su, you called me? Help me. Pei Nanshu deliberated over his words, trying to figure out how to phrase it. What do you mean, Brother Su? The assistant was puzzled. Pei Nanshu coughed softly. I want to see if there's a place in this hotel that's suitable for a private meeting. It's also a place where the reporters won't be able to capture us. The assistant was still puzzled. Private meeting? Is it a place where we need to talk? Pei Nanshu had no choice but to be frank. A suitable place for a private meeting. When the assistant heard this, her face was filled with fear. Private meeting. Brother Su, why are you asking? Was Brother Su planning to meet a girl in private? The assistant stammered, Is it, in this hotel? Pei Nanshu replied, Yeah. The assistant scowled miserably. Brother Su, don't be rash. Are you planning to meet a girl? Pei Nanshu replied, Just make the arrangements. Don't ask questions that you shouldn't ask. The assistant hesitated, but he didn't dare disobey. He had no choice but to follow Pei Nanshu's instructions. After a while, the assistant panted heavily as he returned. If it's a hotel room, there's a high chance that we'll be captured. If we're caught entering or leaving the room, we won't be able to explain ourselves. Hence, it's not suitable. I went to check it out myself. The fire escape on the 13th floor is quite secluded. There's an abandoned storeroom there. We definitely won't be discovered. Pei Nanshu nodded. Got it. Pei Nanshu made a call. After the call, Pei Nanshu sent a text message. When he was done, he heaved a sigh of relief and returned to the room. At the same time, Lin Yan, who was racking her brains for a reply, suddenly received a message. It was from Pei Nanshu, and the content was strange. Pei Nanshu typed, Big sister-in-law, can you go to the storeroom on the 13th floor? Lin Yan read the text curiously. What was she supposed to do there? Coincidentally, Pei Nanshu had returned to his seat. Instinctively, Lin Yan raised her head and cast him a suspicious glance. Pei Nanshu nodded and pointed at his cell phone, gesturing for her to hurry over. Although Pei Nanshu's request was strange, Lin Yan didn't doubt him at all. Since Pei Nanshu had said that, there had to be something important. Hence, Lin Yan stood up and walked out of the room. Lin Yan, where are you going? The banquet is about to start. Jiang Yiming asked casually. I'm going to the bathroom. Lin Yan replied perfunctorily and hurried away. Lin Yan was worried that she would delay Pei Nanshu, so she hurried to the place he had mentioned. There was no one in the corridor except for Lin Yan's footsteps, which she had deliberately tried to make as light as possible. Finally, she found a room with a sign that read, Miscellaneous Room. Lin Yan stood at the door and blinked in confusion. She stared at the rusty, old metal door, feeling even more puzzled. Why had Pei Nanshu asked her to come here? Although it was a request from her idol, it was too strange. If someone else had asked her to come to a place like this, she would have suspected that they were trying to murder her. Chapter 318. Lin Yan swallowed her saliva nervously as she stood in front of the storeroom. Would a room full of haters rush out and beat her up? She couldn't be blamed for letting her imagination run wild. Pei Nanshu had asked her to come here all of a sudden, which was really strange. Lin Yan shook her head to clear her mind. She had confirmed with Pei Nanshu when she had entered the room. Pei Nanshu had to be up to something. At this thought, Lin Yan hurried to the storeroom and reached out to push the door. The door was covered in dust, and the lock was rusted. Lin Yan gently pushed the door open, but it seemed to be unlocked. Lin Yan exerted a little more force, and a second later, the door was pushed open with a loud squeak. Lin Yan strode in. There was no light in the storeroom, so it was dark. There was only a small window at the top that let in some light. She could vaguely see the messy furnishings in the room. The room was covered in dust and cobwebs. It seemed like no one had used this place for a long time. Lin Yen was pondering over Pei Nanshu's intentions when she suddenly saw a red light in the darkness. The light flickered in the darkness of the night. After Lin Yen got used to the dim light, she finally saw that the red light was a lit cigarette. In the darkness, a tall figure was standing diagonally next to the dilapidated cabinet. The night breeze blew away the dark clouds, and the light from the small window at the top became brighter. The man was wearing an oversized trench coat. His eyes were lowered, and he was holding a cigarette between his fingernails. The cigarette was burning quietly, and the red light flickered in the darkness. The man seemed to have sensed Lin Yan's footsteps, so he turned his head slightly in her direction. Although Lin Yan couldn't see the man's face clearly due to the faint smell of tobacco, she recognized him immediately. Pei Yucheng. In the darkness, the man's eyes seemed to be darker than the night sky. The abandoned storeroom was silent, and the man's silhouette in the dark was so charming that it made one's heart palpitate. Just as Lin Yan was rooted to the spot, the man's hoarse voice rang in her ears. Come here. The night wind blew away the dark clouds. Lin Yan could finally see the man's face clearly. In the darkness of the night, the man's face looked a little tired. He wore a loose and casual windbreaker, and his whole body was covered in dust. He looked at her with a cold and indifferent gaze, but in an instant, her body was ignited. That low and hoarse voice made her whole body tense up. Lin Yan blinked and instinctively strode toward the man. She looked surprised as she said, Mr. Pei? It really is you. Mr. Pei suddenly asked me to come here. I was wondering what was going on. There were all sorts of things at her feet, but she carefully avoided them as she walked in Pei Yucheng's direction. She was about 2 to 3 steps away from Pei Yucheng. Mr. Pei, aren't you going to be back next week? Why did he suddenly return to the country? It's still here. Before she could finish, Lin Yan felt a grip around her waist, and the rest of her words got stuck in her throat. The man's eyes were as cold as ever as he watched the girl before him quietly. He pinched the cigarette between his fingers and crushed it. Before Lin Yan could reach him, he stretched out his long arms and pulled her into his embrace. Chapter 319. By the time Lin Yan regained her senses, she had already been pulled into a cold embrace. In an instant, the entire world was filled with that familiar, forest-like aura, mixed with the faint smell of tobacco. Although they had been dating for a long time and had even kissed each other, she had never been so close to Pei Yucheng. Pei Yucheng didn't seem like the kind of person who would have intense emotions. Every time he flirted with her, he would be able to do it with ease. However, this hug seemed to reveal a trace of his unstable emotions. Lin Yan's mind went blank. She was completely dumbfounded by this sudden hug. Instinctively, Pei Yucheng's words rang in her mind. I miss you so much that I fall ill. Pei Yucheng had suddenly rushed back and appeared in this abandoned warehouse. Could it be because he had missed her, so he had rushed back earlier? He had wanted to see her immediately, but he was worried that she had said that they couldn't let anyone know about their relationship. That was why he had asked Pei Nanshu to arrange this meeting place. For a moment, Lin Yan was frightened by this thought. In the quiet storeroom, only the sound of their breathing could be heard. Beep, beep, beep. At this moment, a familiar voice suddenly came from the silence. Instinctively, Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yucheng's watch. Based on her guess, this watch should be the medical detector. It seemed like the moment Pei Yucheng was agitated and his body went over the limit, it would sound the alarm. How had she agitated him again? Lin Yan panicked when she heard the alarm. Air. It's ringing. The watch is ringing again. I have to find a doctor. Lin Yan wanted to move, but she was pressed back down. I'm fine. I'll be fine in a while, the man replied. Lin Yen was speechless. How could he be fine? Pei Yutong had made it sound so serious. Lin Yen panicked. How could you be fine? Third young master has already told me about your condition. Are you too tired from the trip? Pei Yuqing listened to Lin Yan's anxious voice and opened his eyes slowly. His eyes sparkled with a smile as he nodded. Yeah. She knew it. Lin Yan was about to speak when Pei Yuqing added, I miss you too much. Lin Yan was speechless. It was a completely different feeling to send a text message to Pei Yuqing personally. She could still tolerate texting, but now, she was a little overstimulated. Had he really missed her so much that he had asked Pei Nanxiu to arrange such a small place to meet her? Lin Yan had an indescribable feeling in her heart. Lin Yan hastily changed the topic. I haven't had the chance to tell you yet. My mother, grandfather, and Uncle Xia have settled the matter. Thank you. Pei Yuqing replied, Miss Lin, you don't have to be so polite. I was the one who caused this. But you didn't do it. I misunderstood before. I'm sorry, Lin Yan then explained, after all, given your power and influence, you have many ways to force me. You could have done that with just a word. That's why I was so agitated and unconsciously misunderstood you. I didn't expect that. Pei Yuqing finally let go of the girl and regained his composure. Do you want to know why? Chapter 320. Lin Yan nodded instinctively. Pei Yuqing's attitude and actions were contradictory, so she couldn't understand them at all. After seeing Pei Yuqing's true colors, she had no doubt that he would do such a thing. Hence, she really couldn't understand why he hadn't done so. Indeed. I can't figure it out. Lin Yan answered honestly. In the darkness, the man was covered in dust. He looked at her quietly and said, I can't bear to. Because he couldn't bear to, Lin Yan was speechless. The moment she said that, Lin Yan felt as though something had struck her heart. The numbness spread from her heart to her limbs. Damn it, she had randomly made up a topic to ease the agitation. Why had it gotten even more intense? Lin Yan was really confused now. What kind of attitude did Pei Yuqing have towards her? He was really, like a fog, rain, and wind. She couldn't figure it out at all. Lin Yan scratched her head awkwardly, not knowing how to respond. She mumbled, Did Mr. Pei find this place? Pei Yuqing replied, Yeah. Lin Yan coughed. Ahem. It's indeed quite safe. Pei Nanxiu was an awe-inspiring actor, yet he had to worry about finding a place for them to meet in private. However, Pei Yuqing had requested it himself. Pei Nanxiu had done so. Lin Yan gazed at Pei Yuqing with a conflicted expression. Not long ago, he had wanted to control everything about her. Now, he was so considerate and cooperative. You came back a few days earlier. Have you finished your work? Asked Lin Yan casually. There are still some finishing touches. I don't need to be there, replied Pei Yuqing. Lin Yan replied, Oh yeah, I finished filming today. Pei Yuqing replied, Yeah, I know. Huh. He knew. Pei Nanxiu must have told him. In this dilapidated and dim little black room, the two of them chatted on and off. Lin Yan stared at the man before her. Even though he was in such a terrible situation, he still seemed like a god who had descended from heaven. It felt surreal. She had initially planned to try her best to explain things to him when they met. However, after talking to Pei Yutong and learning about Pei Yuqing's condition, she had completely given up on that idea. Besides, Lin Yan glanced at his watch. The watch was still beeping. Although it seemed to be slowing down, it didn't stop at all. Hence, Lin Yan didn't dare utter a word. Lin Yan coughed softly and pretended to be chatting casually. Oh yeah, I have a close friend who has been troubled recently. She has been telling me that the reason she is with her boyfriend isn't because she likes him. She is putting on an act for some special reason. Now, she is struggling to decide if she should tell her boyfriend about this. Pei Yucheng listened to the girl quietly, his expression unreadable. No one could tell what he was thinking. Mr. Pei, what do you think? Lin Yan asked cautiously. For a moment, neither of them spoke, and the room was silent. After an unknown period of time, the man's deep voice came into her ears. The difference between a casual playful act and a lifelong love is that the casual playful act is slightly longer. Chapter 321. Lin Yan pondered over this sentence. This was a famous quote by Oscar Wilde. Huh? What do you mean? Lin Yan didn't understand. Pei Yucheng's eyes reflected the night sky as he said, "If you're lying to me, then lie to me forever." Pei Yucheng had used the first person to answer her question. Lin Yan felt as though she had been exposed and seen through. She couldn't help but jump in fright. At the same time, she understood what Pei Yucheng meant. If he played along with her for the rest of his life, who would be able to tell the difference between that and a lifelong undying love? Even if he knew that it was a lie, wouldn't he care? How much did he love the other party to be able to tolerate such a thing? Lin Yan's heart skipped a beat at the thought of this. F***ck. Pei Yucheng loved her deeply. She must have gone mad. Ah. Haha. I see. Lin Yan chuckled awkwardly and hurriedly distanced herself from him. I'm talking about my best friend. It has nothing to do with me. Of course, I wouldn't do such a thing. The last time I proposed to break up, it was actually because of the scandal between me and that person. I was worried that you would be implicated by me one day, so I was impulsive and proposed to break up with you. Pei Yucheng glanced at the flustered girl before him with a faint smile on his face. Actually, we can't rule out another possibility. What possibility? Lin Yan, who was startled, stared at Pei Yucheng. Lin Yan was curious. What other possibility could there be? Pei Yucheng studied her. Turning the act into reality. Lin Yan muttered, Lin Yan was startled. A second later, her heart thumped wildly. Turning the act into reality? Damn it. Why did she suddenly feel so guilty? Calm down. Calm down. She had said so much just because of a hypothesis. It was just a hypothesis. Lin Yan rubbed her face to calm herself down. She coughed softly and said, Actually, I broke up with you because I was afraid that my reputation would be too bad. On the other hand, Pei Yucheng didn't interrupt her. He listened patiently. Lin Yan added, because Mr. Pei's attitude toward me was too unreal. This isn't real. Pei Yucheng muttered. Lin Yan nodded. Yes. Ever since we first met, you've always been gentle, polite, calm, and composed. Even when you were angry last time, you quickly returned to your original self. Although I don't have much experience, I feel that this doesn't seem to be the state of falling in love and liking. Since she had already said it, she decided to voice her doubts. That's why I always thought that you were just fooling around with me because you were bored. Pei Yucheng finally raised his eyes and glanced at the girl. He muttered to himself, Calm down and control yourself. Lin Yan nodded. Yeah, the man's eyes darkened. It seems that Miss Lin seems to have some misunderstanding about me. Misunderstanding. Lin Yan blinked in confusion. Chapter 322. On the other side, in the private dining room of the film crew. The banquet was about to start, but Lin Yan hadn't returned yet. Jiang Sifei and the other actresses had already started to voice their dissatisfaction. Why is there someone missing? I think it's Lin Yan. She's just a supporting actress. How dare she make so many of us wait for her? Feng Anhua looked displeased. Yeah, where is Lin Yan? I saw her here just now. Where did she go? Pei Nanxiu replied warmly, I saw her go to the bathroom. She should be here soon. We're all friends, so let's not be so formal. Let's start the banquet. When Pei Nanxiu spoke, the others quietened down. Why did they feel that Pei Nanxiu was taking care of Lin Yan? However, since Pei Nanxiu was nice to everyone, they didn't think too much about it. Only Shen Qiaomu rubbed his chin as he studied Pei Nanxiu from head to toe. Why did he feel that something was amiss between Pei Nanxiu and Lin Yan? Pei Nanxiu whipped out his phone and sent a message to Pei Yucheng. However, there was no reply after some time. Hence, he called Lin Yan again to remind her of the time. However, Lin Yan's phone was switched off. Pei Nanxiu stared at his phone, feeling a headache coming on. It wasn't appropriate for Lin Yan to be late today. Otherwise, it would arouse suspicion. Meanwhile, in the dimly lit storage room, Lin Yan felt a burning sensation in her palm. The man's eyes were burning with passion, and she didn't dare to meet his gaze. A second later, Pei Yucheng placed his other hand on the back of the girl's head and drew close enough for them to feel each other's breath. An extremely light kiss landed on the girl's forehead tentatively. Then, it landed on the girl's lips. Lin Yan's eyes widened in shock. Just as she was panicking, Pei Yucheng guided her hand and placed it on his left chest, where his heart was. When her fingers touched Pei Yucheng's heart, Lin Yan froze. Every time Pei Yucheng flirted with her, her mind would go blank and her emotions would be in a mess. Her heart would race so fast that it would kill countless deer. On the other hand, Pei Yucheng would remain calm and composed as though he was an outsider. Hence, he couldn't blame Lin Yan for thinking that he was just fooling around. However, Lin Yan could clearly feel the man's heart pounding furiously under her palm. Again and again, it pounded against her palm like a drum. The man's slightly cold palm also became hotter and hotter. This was definitely not the performance of being calm and collected. An impossible thought surfaced in Lin Yan's head. Miss Lin. Very quickly, the man left her lips. His fingers continued to press her hand against his chest. His low, husky, and magnetic voice sounded like a sigh mixed with a hint of helplessness as it rang in her ears. What kind of misunderstanding do you have about me? Why do you think I'm calm, in front of you? Lin Yan was speechless. She felt as though she was on the front of a train that was about to leave the track. Although it had only been a few seconds, she could still feel Pei Yucheng's heartbeat on her palm. It felt so real. Was this for real? Pei Yucheng had actually, had he really been blind? Chapter 323. The heart beneath her palm was beating rapidly and forcefully. It was the complete opposite of the man's usual calmness and passion. Lin Yan stood there in a daze, unable to snap back to her senses. Her brain felt as though it had been stuffed with paste, and it was a complete mess. The alarm, which had been ringing intermittently, had suddenly stopped. Knock, knock, knock. At this moment, there was a light knock on the door behind him. Startled, Lin Yan turned to look at the door warily. She was done for. Why would someone come to such a secluded place? Lin Yan was still panicking when she heard a familiar voice. Big brother, big sister-in-law, Mr. Pei? Lin Yan heaved a sigh of relief when she heard Pei Nanxiu's voice. She hurriedly opened the door. Mr. Pei, why are you here? Asked Lin Yan. Pei Nanxiu glanced at Lin Yan before glancing at his brother. Their hands were still holding each other's hands. Pei Nanxiu glanced at his brother, who was emitting a cold aura. He looked troubled. He hadn't wanted to disturb them, but Big Brother had ordered him not to disturb Lin Yan's work. Pei Nanxiu could only force himself to explain. Big sister-in-law, the banquet has started. It wouldn't be good if you didn't go home for a long time. Also, it would be easy for someone to discover you. I called you just now, but no one picked up. I didn't feel at ease letting anyone else come, so I came to inform you myself. Lin Yan instinctively glanced at her phone, only to realize that it had run out of battery. Lin Yan was touched when she heard Pei Nanxiu's words. This was the best brother-in-law of the century. He was so considerate. Her idol was like an angel who had descended from heaven. I'm sorry. I'll head back now, Lin Yan said hastily before she glanced at Pei Yucheng. Mr. Pei, I'll make a move first. She had been in love all of a sudden. Why did it seem as though she had secretly invited him out? The worst part was that she actually had to trouble her idol to cover for her. Fortunately, Pei Nanxiu had appeared suddenly and interrupted her awkwardness. Lin Yan got ready to leave after she spoke to Pei Yucheng. However, just as she took a step forward, her body suddenly couldn't move. A second later, she lowered her head and realized that Pei Yucheng was still holding her hand. He hadn't released it. Air. Lin Yan's body stiffened as she turned to look at the man beside her. The man's face was hidden in the shadows. Even though Lin Yan couldn't see his expression, she could sense the pressure emanating from him. The watch on the man's wrist that had just stopped ringing with great difficulty began to ring crazily again. Lin Yan was speechless, Nanxiu was speechless. Pei Nanxiu coughed softly and wisely chose to leave. They were dating openly, yet Pei Yucheng had to meet her in secret. They had only met for a short while, yet she was leaving again. Lin Yan's heart softened when she saw the man standing in the narrow, dark room, looking travel-worn and dusty. Why don't I just find a random reason and not go? Tears streamed down Lin Yan's cheeks as she chided herself. Didn't he say that he would reject beauty and focus on his career? Chapter 324. Pei Yucheng studied the girl's frustrated and helpless expression. He raised his hand and placed it on the girl's head before he stroked it gently. There's no need for that. But you. Lin Yan glanced at Pei Yucheng's watch. However, it was still ringing. Judging from Pei Yucheng's heartbeat and the alarm of the watch, she had to admit that she could indeed affect Pei Yucheng's emotions. It's okay. I'll be fine in a while, Pei Yucheng replied. After a few seconds, Pei Yucheng's watch finally stopped ringing. All the restless emotions seemed to have been forcefully suppressed by its owner. Lin Yan couldn't help but feel guilty and remorseful at how considerate he was. I'm sorry. We're clearly dating, but because of my personal reasons, you have to give in to me and meet me secretly. Pei Yucheng's eyes glinted as he chuckled softly. There is a way to meet openly. Lin Yan asked, Huh? What way? Pei Yucheng didn't answer her. Instead, he glanced behind her and said, Go ahead. Okay. Lin Yan nodded and pushed the door open. Pei Nanxiu was guarding the door diligently. He was probably afraid that someone would come over so that he could warn them in advance. Mr. Pei, thank you so much. Lin Yan thanked him profusely. Big sister-in-law, you're welcome. It's what I should do. Pei Nanxiu grinned. Pei Nanxiu studied Lin Yan as he walked and said tentatively, Big sister-in-law, you're really close to my brother. He wanted to see you as soon as he came back. I've never seen him so attentive to anyone before. Ahem. Really? Lin Yan blushed. Oh yeah, my brother has already punished the subordinate who acted on her own. Don't take it to heart. It won't happen again, Pei Nanxiu replied. Now that his brother had finally gotten back together with Lin Yan, he was afraid that Lin Yan would break up with him again. Lin Yan narrowed her eyes and quipped, That girl. Does she like your brother? Pei Nanxiu jumped in fright. Ahem. How could that be? I don't think so, really. She had been glaring at Pei Yucheng with a passionate gaze. Of course, they are just ordinary subordinates. Pei Nanxiu was afraid that Lin Yan would misunderstand, so he hurriedly explained himself and changed the topic. Let's head over quickly. If we're gone for too long, we might be discovered. Pei Nanxiu chatted with Lin Yan as they hurried to the VIP room. They had just reached the staircase when they bumped into someone. In the empty staircase, Shen Qiaomu stood in a corner, smoking a cigarette in his hand. Lin Yan and Pei Nanxiu walked up the stairs side by side. In an instant, the three pairs of eyes met, and all three of them were stunned. Nanshu was speechless. Lin Yan was speechless. Shen Xiaomu dropped the cigarette in his mouth when he saw Lin Yan and Pei Nanshu in the deserted stairwell. He stared at them in shock and bewilderment. Holy shit. Lin Yan and Pei Nanshu. Chapter 325. You and Mr. Pei. What kind of shocking secret had he discovered? In the car, he had jokingly asked Lin Yan if any of her rumored boyfriends were real. He had guessed everyone in the car, but he had forgotten about Pei Nanshu, Lin Yan and Pei Nanshu. The two of them were worlds apart. How could this be possible? Lin Yan was dumbfounded. She hadn't expected that she would bump into someone even though she had been so careful. Furthermore, this person was Shen Xiaomu, one of her rumored boyfriends. In a place like the staircase, a man and a woman were alone with Pei Nanshu. How could they explain themselves? Initially, she and Pei Nanshu had planned to enter the private room one after the other. However, before they could do so, they bumped into Shen Xiaomu. Who would have thought that this fellow would come here instead of staying in the private room? Pei Nanshu frowned, looking rather displeased. Why aren't you eating in the private room? Why are you here? Lin Yan was speechless. Shen Xiaomu replied blankly, it's too stuffy in the private room, so I came here to get some fresh air. What about the two of you? Lin Yan stroked her chin and muttered, if I told you that we came here to get some fresh air, would you believe me? Shen Xiaomu quipped, do you think I would believe you? Lin Yan was speechless. He didn't seem to believe her. Shen Xiaomu stared at Lin Yan in shock. F***ck. Lin Yan. So the boyfriend you mentioned in the car was Mr. Pei? Pei Nanshu was speechless. Lin Yan was speechless. Although the answer was wrong, it was very close to the correct answer. Shen Xiaomu looked as though his worldview had been turned upside down. Oh my god. How is that possible? The two of you? Lin Yan narrowed her eyes. What about us? Why are you so shocked? What had happened between her and Pei Nanshu? Why was it so unbelievable? How ignorant. He was already so frightened when he saw her and Pei Nanshu. If he knew her boyfriend's true identity, how frightened would he be? Why not? Shen Xiaomu was agitated. If news of you and Pei Nanshu gets out, the entire entertainment industry will explode. Lin Yan pursed her lips. That was true, however, he didn't know that the truth would be even more explosive. Pei Nanshu hurriedly explained, Mr. Shen, you're mistaken. It's not what you think. Shen Xiaomu nodded profusely and gestured as though he was zipping his mouth. I understand. I understand everything. Don't worry, my lips are sealed. I won't say anything. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched. What do you know? I'm sorry to disturb you. Please continue. Unfortunately, Shen Xiaomu didn't want to listen to his explanation at all. He had already tactfully left. Pei Nanshu stood rooted to the ground and sighed heavily. He glanced at Lin Yan with a bitter smile. It seemed like he wouldn't be able to explain himself. What should we do? Lin Yan looked like she was about to cry. Pei Nanshu comforted her. I'm afraid we won't be able to explain ourselves. Fortunately, although Shen Xiaomu's private life is a little messy, he is a good person. I don't think he will spread the news. I will tell him not to spread the news. I think that's the only way. Lin Yan could only console herself that she hadn't bumped into Pei Yucheng. Chapter 326. After a while, the two of them finally entered the private room. Although they didn't enter at the same time, Shen Xiaomu, Pei Nanshu, and Lin Yan still caught everyone's attention. What was worse was that Shen Xiaomu, who was seated next to Pei Nanshu, sprang to his feet the moment he saw Lin Yan. Lin Yan, your seat seems more airy. Come on, switch seats with me. He strode over to Lin Yan and tried to switch seats with her. He even shot her a look that said, I know what's good for me. Lin Yan was speechless. Lin Yan was speechless. She glanced at Pei Nanxiu and then at Shen Qiaomu. She realized how important it was to have a reliable assistant. In the end, Shen Qiaomu forced Lin Yan to sit next to Pei Nanxiu. To make matters worse, Pei Nanxiu was on her left, Han Yixuan was on her right, and Jiang Xifei was on her right. That was enough. It had taken her a lot of effort to avoid all the landmines and find a safe spot. Now, Shen Qiaomu had ruined all her plans. When they saw that Lin Yan had been moved to Pei Nanxiu's seat, the other actresses' faces darkened. Jiang Xifei, the female lead, was the first to react. Sister Xifei, shouldn't you be sitting next to Mr. Pei? It's fine if it's Shen Qiaomu, but why is Lin Yan sitting there shamelessly? He Shanshan, who was standing next to Jiang Xifei, chimed in. He Shanshan shouldn't have had the right to attend the gathering. However, because of Han Yixuan and Lin Shiya's relationship, Feng Anhua had invited her. Since Han Yixuan was her cousin-in-law, He Shanshan didn't hold back at all. Everyone at the table heard her. Everyone was jealous of Lin Yan, so they ignored the fact that Shen Qiaomu had requested to switch seats. They might even think that Lin Yan was flirting with Shen Qiaomu and Pei Nanxiu. Lin Yan gritted her teeth and glared at Shen Qiaomu, who was still looking innocent. Forget it. Given her reputation, even if she didn't do anything, it would be wrong for her to breathe. Whatever, as long as they were happy, Feng Anhua tried to smooth things over. Great. Everyone is finally here. Come on. Let's raise our glasses. Cheers to all of us. As soon as Feng Anhua finished speaking, everyone raised their glasses out of respect. Lin Yan wasn't the only one who had completed her scenes. Jiang Xifei and the other celebrities had also completed their scenes. Only Pei Nanxiu, Shen Qiaomu, and a few other actors had to continue filming. Xifei, you finished filming. Let's toast Xifei. Feng Anhua glanced at Jiang Xifei eagerly. Although Lin Yan had completed her scenes today, she was just a supporting character, so she didn't really matter. Thank you, Producer Feng. Thank you, Director Jiang. Thank you, everyone, for taking care of me. Jiang Xifei stood up gracefully and thanked everyone. Ha ha ha, Xifei, you're too kind. We should be the ones thanking you. With Best Actress Jiang supporting us, our movie will definitely be a hit. Feng Anhua complimented confidently. Jiang Xifei glanced at Pei Nanxiu shyly. How can I compare to Mr. Pei? Even if it's a big hit, it should be because of him. Chapter 327. Pei Nanxiu remained expressionless as he listened to Jiang Xifei. He merely smiled faintly. Jiang Xifei was no longer the same as before. She was a newcomer that Lin Shiya's management company had invested a lot of resources on. Feng Anhua valued her potential, so he naturally flattered her. Mr. Pei, you're the best actor in the industry. Xifei, you have a bright future ahead of you. You've won so many awards at such a young age. Who in the industry doesn't recognize your talent? Feng Anhua praised her. You're the best actor in the industry. Your acting skills are unparalleled among all the actresses in the entertainment industry. You're both beautiful and capable. You're like Mr. Pei. You're the soul of our movie. Feng Anhua had been in the entertainment industry for many years and knew how to say the right thing. Every word he said was right on Jiang Xifei's heart. Jiang Xifei was over the moon. However, Jiang Xifei maintained a humble expression as she replied, Producer Feng, you're flattering me. I still have a lot to learn. There's no end to learning. I firmly believe that I can only go far if I'm down to earth and use my abilities. Jiang Xifei's eyes darted to Lin Yan as she spoke. When He Shanshan heard this, she immediately chimed in, Sister Xifei, you're so right. We should have more artists like you in the entertainment industry. It's a pity that some people don't have any ability. Their acting skills are terrible and they only know how to create scandals. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to survive. I heard that she made dozens of NGs in a simple scene with Mr. Pei today. Everyone else had to work overtime with her. A rat's poop spoils the whole pot of porridge. She has really lowered the standard of our production team. Everyone knew who He Shanshan was referring to. The production team had always been split into groups. Only a small number of people knew about Lin Yan's acting skills. Not many actors had seen her acting or acted with her personally. Hence, many people despised Lin Yan. However, Jiang Yiming, Wei Shufeng, and Pei Nanxiu were well aware of this. Wei Shufeng was Lin Yan's biggest critic. Wei Shufeng frowned when he heard He Shanshan's words. Even though he hated Lin Yan, he had to admit that her acting was impeccable. It could even be said that acting with Lin Yan was the most relaxing experience he had ever had. However, he was surprised to hear that she had made dozens of NGs in one scene with Pei Nanxiu. After all, most of Lin Yan's scenes with him had been completed in one scene. Besides, she was talented and quick to learn. Even if she failed occasionally, she would be able to get the hang of things quickly. Why had she failed so many times with Pei Nanxiu? After all, he wasn't a professional, so he probably wouldn't be able to perform well. Pei Nanxiu naturally wouldn't speak up now. If he spoke up for Lin Yan, he would only cause more trouble for her. Besides, the audience wasn't blind, so they would be able to see Lin Yan's performance when the movie was released. Although Lin Yan didn't have many scenes, based on his experience, he was certain that the most popular character in the movie would be Lin Pianruo. On the other hand, Zhang Sifei, who had been highly praised by Feng Anhua, didn't deserve her title as the best actress. Zhang Sifei was right about one thing. An actor's acting skills and capabilities were the most important. Chapter 328. At the dining table, everyone toasted each other. Pei Nanxiu's seat was too eye-catching, so Lin Yan had no choice but to bury her head and eat. After 3 rounds of drinks, a staff member suddenly pushed open the door and whispered something in Feng Anhua's ear. What? Lin Shuya is here? Feng Anhua exclaimed in surprise as he stood up to welcome her. As they spoke, the door to the private room was pushed open. Lin Shuya walked in wearing a dazzling, luxurious gown. Miss Lin. Wow. It's Lin Shuya. Cousin. The moment they saw Lin Shuya, everyone in the room greeted her warmly. Han Yishuan's gloomy expression softened when he saw who it was. He Shanshan walked over happily and held Lin Shuya's arm warmly. Cousin, why are you here? Lin Shuya smiled and said, I happen to be attending a dinner party here today. I heard from Brother Yishuan that the production crew was having a dinner party here, so I came uninvited. He then turned to Feng Anhua and Jiang Yiming. I'm sorry to disturb you. I hope producer Feng and director Jiang won't mind. Feng Anhua beamed. Shuya, what are you talking about? He couldn't even beg for it. Your presence brings light to our humble dwelling. Please take a seat. After he finished speaking, he ordered the waiter to prepare another set of tableware. Jiang Sifei, who was sitting beside Han Yishuan, stood up. Shuya, sit here. Han Yishuan got up and walked over to the girl. Considerately, he held her hand and led her to a seat. His voice was as gentle as water. Didn't you say you were busy? No matter how busy I am, I'm not as important as Big Brother Yishuan. Lin Shuya said in a sweet voice. Han Yishuan was delighted by Lin Shuya's words, and a doting look appeared on his face. No matter what, the girl in front of him would always regard him as the most important existence in her life. She would always look up to him with a dependent gaze. His existence was everywhere in her world. Then, she turned to look at Wei Shufeng. Shufeng, I'm looking forward to your theme song. It must be very nice. Wei Shufeng's expression softened when he saw Lin Shuya. Thank you. At the dining table, Lin Shia was like a fish in water. The girl was pure and friendly, like an angel. Her mannerisms were elegant and noble, and everyone liked her. Not only did the domineering and arrogant young Master Wei have a rare gentle expression, but young Master Shen Qiaomu was also very attentive to the beauty. Han Yishuan's eyes were filled with affection from the beginning to the end. "Oh right, cousin, what kind of dinner are you attending?" He Shanshan asked. Lin Shia ran her fingers through her hair as a proud expression flashed across her eyes. "I have an appointment with Director Garcia tonight." He Shanshan's face lit up with excitement. "Wow! Is it that famous Hollywood director? I heard that he's going to shoot a movie about racing. Cousin, are you going to shoot a movie with Director Garcia?" Everyone at the dining table was shocked to hear He Shanshan's words. Garcia was an A-list director in Hollywood who had made countless celebrities famous. Almost all the celebrities in the country would be honored if they could star in his movies. Lin Shia smiled but didn't reply. Jiang Sifei chimed in. "This movie has been confirmed a long time ago. Miss Lin will be playing a very important role in it. Director Garcia personally decided on the role." Chapter 329. Wow! You're amazing. He Shanshan's eyes gleamed with admiration. Lin Shia replied calmly, "I was just lucky. Besides, I happen to be interested in racing and have a good understanding of it. Perhaps I'm more suited for the role. That's why the director chose me." "You're as good as a professional." Jiang Sifei complimented her. "That's because you're outstanding, knowledgeable, and multi-talented. You know everything." He Shanshan grinned at Lin Yan and raised her voice. "No wonder Sister Sifei jumped ship to work for you. Indeed, birds of a feather flock together. Outstanding people stick together with outstanding people, unlike some people." Lin Shia's eyes trailed to Lin Yan as she grinned. "Sister, I almost forgot to greet you. It's been a while. I heard that you finished filming today. Congratulations." Han Yishuan glanced at Lin Yan warily when he heard Lin Shia talking to her. He seemed to be afraid that Lin Yan would go crazy and do something to Lin Shia. Actually, he had admired Lin Yan's independence and her carefree personality. He had also enjoyed her meticulous care and concern. When the girl before him treated someone well, she would give her all and be as passionate as a flame. When he had been chased out of the family and exiled abroad, Lin Yan had been by his side during the darkest times of his life. He had once truly liked her. However, he was a man after all. How could he bear to rely on a woman? When he had returned to the country, Lin Yan had asked him to take care of her sister, Lin Shia. That girl was completely different from Lin Yan. Unlike Lin Yan, who was sophisticated, Lin Shia was as pure and innocent as a blank piece of paper. Her reliance and admiration for him had instantly moved him. Initially, when his relationship with Shia had been exposed, he had felt guilty and blamed himself. He had tried to make it up to her. However, Lin Yan's emotions had suddenly become unstable, as though she had changed into a different person. As time went by, he listened to her recount the events of the past. He listened to her help him remember how down and out he had been. He watched as she caused trouble for him and Shia in public like a lunatic. His guilt slowly turned into annoyance. The girl he once liked was actually so repulsive. Just like that, the gentle and caring Lin Shia entered his heart. The more Lin Yan caused trouble for Lin Shia, the more he hated her. Han Yishuan's alarmed expression amused Lin Yan. It seemed that she had been quite a fool before. Did Han Yishuan really think that she would be the same as before? That she would make a scene in public and make a fool of herself for these two pieces of trash? Lin Yan raised her glass and toasted Lin Shia. "Thank you." Lin Shia couldn't help but frown as she studied Lin Yan's expression. She didn't know when it had started, but Lin Yan had reverted to her usual nonchalant self, which made her feel disgusted. Now that she had nothing left, what right did he have to look at her like that? Han Yishuan heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he felt a little suspicious. The girl before him had a nonchalant expression on her face. It was something he had never seen before. Chapter 330. Although Lin Yan had been carefree when they had been dating, she had always been considerate and warm to him. However, after they had broken up because of Shuya, she had been depressed and crazy. He had never seen Lin Yan like this before. She looked indifferent and contemptuous. It was as though she didn't care about anything. Yi Shanshan pursed her lips and sneered, "Cousin, why are you still so nice to her?" She was shamelessly buying publicity materials to create a scandal with her cousin-in-law. Hearing this, the people at the dining table started to discuss in low voices. Everyone looked like they were watching a good show. Lin Yan lowered her eyes and chuckled softly. She swirled the wine in her glass and took a sip. "Miss He, there are so many big shots in the production team. Mr. Pei is the top celebrity in the entertainment industry. If I wanted to make a name for myself, why didn't I do it? Why did I have to make a cameo appearance?" Pei Nanxiu coughed softly. Lin Yan added, "Even if I were to create a scandal with Shen Qiaomu, we would still be considered a powerful combination." Shen Qiaomu was speechless. A powerful combination, this description, could be used. Lin Yan gulped down the wine in her glass and grinned. "That's why I'm sorry. Even if I want to create a scandal, I won't let anyone do it." Lin Yan wasn't ashamed of it. Instead, she was proud of it, which made He Shanshan speechless. "You." He Shanshan was so angry that she slammed the table and stood up. "Who do you think you are? How dare you say that you look down on Big Brother Yishuan? Don't you know that Big Brother Yishuan has a good family background? That's why you're so obsessed with him." Lin Yan raised an eyebrow. "Huh? Is the Han family the only family with a good family background in the capital city? What do you think of young Master Wei?" Although the Han family was one of the wealthiest families in the capital city, the Wei family was on par with them. In fact, the Wei family had been developing as fast as the Han family. Wei Shufeng was speechless. Lin Yan quipped, "Mr. Han can't be compared to Tang Jiaye." Tang Jiaye was speechless. Lin Yan's words had caused Pei Nanxiu, Shen Qiaomu, Wei Shufeng, and Tang Jiaye to be implicated. He Shanshan stomped her feet in anger. You're shameless. I wonder who was the one who insisted that Brother Yishuan was your boyfriend." Lin Yan sighed. "Who hasn't been blind before?" He Shanshan, the onlookers were speechless. Pei Nanxiu lowered his head and sipped his tea. He coughed softly and gave up on the idea of speaking. He seemed to have underestimated his sister-in-law's fighting ability. Just this mouth alone was enough to kill without spilling blood. Han Yishuan's face had darkened as he glanced at Lin Yan with a gloomy expression. Lin Yan seemed to be tipsy, so Feng Anhua hastily stepped forward to change the topic. Late at night, the meal was finally over. Lin Yan is really despicable. I've never seen such a shameless person. He Shanshan was indignant. Jiang Sifei sneered coldly. She is sharp-tongued and has a glib tongue. This kind of person only knows how to talk. How's Lin Yan doing? Lin Shia asked casually as she stroked her nails. Chapter 331. He Shanshan looked nonchalant. Sister Shia, don't worry. This idiot's acting skills are terrible. She even failed dozens of times in her scene with Pei Nanxiu. There are so many big names in this movie, and Sister Sifei is the best actress. She will look like a clown and get scolded to death. Jiang Sifei snorted softly. She even made a bet with Zhao Hongling that she would rank first in sales within 3 months. Lin Shia sighed softly and shook her head. I thought that Zhao Hongling was capable. I didn't expect her to be so mediocre. Jiang Sifei's eyes flickered. Miss Lin, we can add fuel to the fire before the movie is released. We can kick her out of the entertainment industry. After the gathering, Lin Yan returned home. That night, Lin Yan received a call from her grandfather, He Dingkuan. He wanted her to have lunch at the old mansion. She had completed all her scenes in Meeting One's match, so she had nothing to do. Thus, Lin Yan agreed readily. At noon the next day, Lin Yan hailed a cab and headed to the old mansion. The He family mansion was bustling with activity. Almost all the members of the He family team were there. Grandfather, I don't think it's appropriate for Sister Yan to be Brother Minkai's navigator. If it doesn't work out, Sister Yan can be my navigator. After all, we have worked together before. We have a tacit understanding. He Lufeng glanced at He Dingkuan as he spoke. Haha. He Lufeng, forget it. Lin Yan's navigator skills are not bad. It shouldn't be a problem for her to be paired with Minkai. However, I think it's a waste for you. I'm just being honest. Don't be angry. One of the He family racers grinned at He Lufeng. He Lufeng looked indignant. If he hadn't cooperated with Lin Yan, none of them would have made it to the finish line. How dare he say that? What time is it? Why isn't she here yet? Before long, one of the navigators from the He family team snapped impatiently. Although she is a professional navigator, she is still far from Qing Li's level. She was supposed to learn from Qing Li today, yet she is so late. That's right. If Qing Li wasn't sick and unwell, she wouldn't have had the chance to be Minkai's navigator. The young man smiled faintly but didn't comment. In his eyes, Lin Yan wasn't a big deal. Perhaps because she was a woman, the commentator had been overly flattering her. Qing Li, do you think that Lin Yan's description of the road conditions was improvised? One of the racers from the He family glanced at Qing Li. Qing Li smiled faintly and replied, of course not. Even the top navigators in the third level might not be able to do that. Lin Yan memorized the terrain a long time ago. That's why she had such a detailed map. However, these are the basic qualities of a professional navigator. All I can say is that Lin Yan has the ability to be a professional navigator. You're right. Also, how did she execute that side horizontal drift? It's so strange. Qing Li pondered it for a moment before he replied, I think it was a coincidence. It has nothing to do with Lin Yan. Chapter 332. Who said it's fine? He Lufeng stood up abruptly and frowned. It's Sister Yan. What happened to Lin Yan? Asked Qing Li with a smile. He Lufeng was a little puzzled. Indeed, it had happened too quickly that day. Actually, they didn't seem to have done anything. They had just floated out, but He Lufeng couldn't tell how exactly they had done it. I don't know either. Sister Yan and I must have done it together, replied He Lufeng resolutely. Nonsense, of course it was you guys who threw it out. If it wasn't you guys, who else could it be? One of the racers grinned. We all know that you guys did it, but you have to tell us how you did it. Just how did he use side horizontal drift? He Lufeng mulled it over for a moment before he quipped, I think Sister Yan asked me to step on the brakes. I stepped on the brakes and came out. The He family team glanced at each other in confusion. A few racers couldn't help but chuckle. Haha. Lufeng, look at you. You can't even explain yourself. You drifted out when you stepped on the brakes. Isn't that luck? Didn't I say that I'm not sure? I just stepped on the brakes. It was Sister Yan. Before He Lufeng could finish, Qing Li chuckled softly. Lufeng, you're a professional racer. There are some things that you can say to us. It's fine if we just laugh it off, but if you say it out loud, we will become a laughing stock. Lin Yan is just a professional navigator. Her theoretical knowledge might be better than yours, but she can't be compared to you when it comes to piloting. Although He Lifeng was indignant, he didn't know how to retort. Lin Yan's instructions had been too simple, and she had been the one controlling the steering wheel. He Lifeng hadn't been able to see it clearly. He Lifeng couldn't bring himself to say anything, even if he wanted to. The next match against WW was about to begin. Even if they couldn't win, they would be able to witness Sister Yan's navigational skills. In fact, the competition with the TWW team might not be a rally. If it had been a regular race, there wouldn't be a need for a navigator. Sister Yan might even be able to compete. However, He Lifeng wasn't too sure. He only knew that Lin Yan was a top navigator, but if she became a racer, he was afraid that things would be different. Qingli, do you think Lin Yan is qualified to be Minkai's navigator? He Xiong asked Qingli after some time. Hearing this, Qingli smiled and said, Uncle Xiong, didn't you say it before? Let me train her for a few days. After I train her, there should be no problem. She should be able to match Minkai's driving standard. I'm glad to hear that. It's Lin Yan's fortune to be able to learn from you. He Xiong grinned. Before they could continue their conversation, Lin Yan strode into the mansion with her bags. Yan, you're here. The old master, He Dingkuan, smiled at Lin Yan. Grandfather, I bought you a gift. Lin Yan placed the bags in the room and turned to look at He Dingkuan. After the filming was completed, the production team had paid her the rest of the remuneration. It's not easy for you guys to earn money. I don't lack anything, so you don't have to buy anything. Sit down and talk, He Dingkuan said. Oh yeah, grandfather. Why did you call me here so urgently? Is there something urgent? Lin Yan sat down on the couch. Chapter 333. What could possibly happen? Isn't it all because of you? He Minkai glanced at Lin Yan. If it hadn't been for you, we wouldn't have had to get involved with WW and ZH1. Lin Yan glanced at He Minkai. Before she could speak, He Xiong said coldly, Lin Yan, Qingli is the best navigator in our team. He has been working with Minkai for a long time. However, Qingli hasn't been feeling well recently, and he needs to rest for a period of time. Qingli has already agreed to let you be his disciple. Once you've learned enough, you can work with Minkai and become his navigator. Lin Yan glanced at Qingli, who was smiling at her. Become his disciple? Of course. He Xiong nodded and said, Qingli also said that your navigator skills aren't bad, but it's still not good enough for Minkai. Take Qingli as your master and let him guide you. When it's time, you can be Minkai's navigator. Miss Lin Yan, you're much better than us, but you're still lacking compared to Qingli. If you want to become Minkai's navigator, it's necessary for Qingli to guide you for a while. One of the navigators smiled at Lin Yan. Become He Minkai's navigator, become the disciple of an ordinary navigator from the He family team. Lin Yan blinked in confusion. Her emotions were indescribable. I don't think there's a need to become his disciple. Lin Yan chuckled dryly. Qingli's expression darkened as he glanced at Lin Yan. If you weren't the old master's granddaughter, I wouldn't have taught you anything. Lin Yan tilted her head and raised an eyebrow at the man. Who are you? Qingli's expression darkened when he heard Lin Yan. Lin Yan, how can you say that? Qingli is your senior. When he was a professional navigator, you were nowhere to be found. He Xiong bellowed at Lin Yan. Before Lin Yan could respond, Qingli sneered coldly. Old master, Uncle Xiong, it's not that I don't want to accept her. However, she's so incompetent and arrogant. I really can't teach her. Many navigators turned to look at Lin Yan. The good impression they had of Lin Yan vanished instantly. Miss Lin Yan, Qingli is the best navigator in our team. I'm afraid you're not good enough for Minkai. If you don't let Qingli teach you, how will you become Minkai's navigator? One of the navigators glanced at Lin Yan in displeasure. Who said that I want to be He Minkai's navigator? Lin Yen replied calmly. Ever since she had become He Lefeng's navigator, she had sworn that she would never become anyone's navigator again. She was so angry that she wanted to kick the driver out of the car. It was more reliable for him to sit in the driver's seat. Lin Yen, you have to know that it's an honor to be Minkai's navigator and compete with WW. Without Minkai, would you have qualified to compete with a prestigious team like WW? He Xiong frowned. Lin Yen ignored him and glanced at the old master. Grandfather, when will the competition begin? In a few days. ZH1 said that they would wait for further notice, replied He Dingkuan. Grandfather, I got it. I have something to do, so I have to leave now. I will be there on the day of the competition. Lin Yen turned around and left without giving the old master a chance to speak. Chapter 334. Lin Yen dialed God Zi's number after she left the mansion. Miss Lin, what can I do for you? God Zi asked eagerly. Try to bring the race forward. Also, don't choose a rally race. Choose a regular race that doesn't require a navigator, replied Lin Yen. God Zi replied, that's not a problem. I'll make the arrangements. In any case, regardless of the venue, they had no chance of winning. Lin Yen heaved a sigh of relief after she hung up. She couldn't reason with the navigator of the He family team at all. It would be better for her to finish the race as soon as possible and answer to her grandfather. Then, she would retire. Given the popularity of this race, the He family would be able to make a comeback. In the past few days, the news of the competition between WW and the He family team had spread like wildfire. The discussion forums were filled with criticisms of ZH1 and the He family team. I want to drive a GTR, typed, the He family team is just a low-level team that's about to disband. How dare they compete with me? Who gave them the courage to do so? This is too obvious. The He family team should get out of the racing industry. Crazy car driver, typed, do you know who the navigator of the He family team is? She has been exposed. She is Lin Yen from the entertainment industry. All the good pigs have been hit by a car, typed, F***CK. She is the Lin Yen who has been trying to gain popularity. You mean Lin Yen? She has made a name for herself in the entertainment industry. Why is she trying her luck in the racing industry? Getting rich every day, rich your mom. This woman is the most disgusting person I've ever seen. For the sake of fame, she would do anything shameless. What does she know about racing? What does she know about being a navigator? Her grandfather is the boss of the He family team. That's how she got into the team. Lin Yen had been vilified for the rest of her life. This woman is shameless. She has been trying to gain popularity with our idol, and now she is trying to blackmail me? Lin Yen lay on the couch in her apartment, munching on sunflower seeds as she watched the netizens criticize her. After so long, she had finally been kicked out of the industry. Her achievements had expanded from the entertainment industry to the racing industry. Soon, a phone rang. God Zi's solemn voice rang out. Miss Lin Yen, have you seen the news online? I'm afraid the situation isn't looking good. If this goes on, I'm afraid the He family team won't be able to establish a foothold in the industry. Lin Yen grinned and replied nonchalantly, I saw it. It's fine as long as I won. I won. Lin Yen sounded so relaxed, as though she was saying that the weather was good today. The person on the other end of the line fell silent. God Zi's voice rang out again. Miss Lin Yen, I'm well aware of your abilities. However, the other members of the He family team. Besides, the members of WW are evenly matched and they have many strategies. Coupled with their new captain. I'm afraid, the meaning behind God Zi's words was clear. Their chances of winning this match were slim. I'm fine. When is the competition starting? asked Lin Yen. The day after tomorrow at the Ningnan racetrack, Godzi replied. Godzi sighed heavily and tried to persuade her. Miss Lin Yen, it's not too late to back out now. After all, this is ZH1's business. I don't want to drag the He family team down. Moi. The update has ended. 12 chapters have been updated. PS. Everyone's prizes have been sent out one after another. Remember to sign for it. There were too many prizes piled up previously, and they've finally all been sent out. Let's continue the lucky draw below the comments of this chapter. 3 babies will get a canvas bag, and you can vote as usual. That you're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.